If you find out that a foreign power has been spying on you, can you sue them? Well, yes you can, although it's not easy. So what am I on about? Well, a couple of cases recently where it was the Saudi government and the Bahraini government. They had installed spyware on the computers and mobile phones and everything of some people who had successfully sought political asylum in the UK. They described themselves as pro-democracy campaigners. But the regimes in those countries weren't very happy with them. And it transpired, like I said, that they had hacked all their devices and remotely put all this spying software on, keystroke thing, registers, the one that sort of works out exactly what you're typing, and they could access all their hard drives and all their emails and things. And they found out about this. They managed to work out, taking the computers into the shop and somebody going, this is riddled with malware. And eventually they managed to track down and say, this looks like it's the work of, in one case, the Saudi government, and in the other, the Bahrainian government. However, states, generally speaking, have immunity from civil suit. You can't sue them. And this is all to do with, diplomatic immunity and the Vienna Convention. Now, just to go off on a little tangent, but it is sort of relevant. All this stuff about embassies of foreign soil, that's a complete myth. They're not. The embassy is just in the country and the ground belongs to the host nation. Now, whether you rent premises or buy premises, you're in no different position to anybody else in this country who buys or rents premises. I mean, ultimately, even if it is a fee simple absolute in perpetuity, as we say, another word for a freehold, ultimately that property belongs to the Crown. And even if you own your own house, check the deeds. I bet you don't own the mining right or the mineral rights. That's very significant down here, where all the old tin mining stuff. So theoretically, it's the duchy down here. So Prince William could come in and say, right, I'm digging under your house. I want my tin. But yeah, the Vienna Convention just says that, generally speaking, states won't interfere with consular premises so long as they're doing consular business. But, they have to actually be, running as an embassy. And like I say, it's just a convention. When the SAS went in to the Iranian embassy, they didn't ask for permission. they just went in and said, no, this is just a bog standard sort of, police action, effectively. And the police have done that. The police have actually got warrants and raided embassies because there was one where they were running an illegal currency exchange in some of the rooms. And the police got the warrant and said, we'll only go into the rooms where they're doing the illegal business. We'll leave all their diplomatic bit aside. That's not a problem. But, by definition, committing a crime is not consular business. So, they went in there and they arrested people. Similarly, if you're renting a building and you don't pay it, the landlord, even if it's an embassy, the landlord can send the bailiffs in, just take all your photocopy, or indeed just evict you. So that's something to bear in mind. Now, there is 1 acre of British soil that technically does belong to another nation. I'll let you guess in the comments what it is. We'll have it as a little quiz. But I know there's a lot of Magna Carta fans out there. So there is a slight connection. I'll say Magna Carta and JFK and see how many people get it. Although even though that bit of territory technically belongs to the US, I did check on this, and it's actually maintained and administered by the local police force. So I always thought that, oh God, I'll just go there and commit a crime and there's nothing they can do about it. Just have to try and extradite me from that plot of land. But yeah, back to the embassy thing. So so states have immunity, but only when they're doing sort of, government-y type things. So one of the exceptions to state immunity is if they cause you personal injury. So you may remember that lass who, knocked down the lad by driving on the wrong side of the road. There's all the stuff about whether she had diplomatic immunity. She could still be prosecuted, and also the family could have brought a civil claim against her. I mean, they might be doing, I don't know. But one of the exceptions to that is if they commit personal injury. So what was the claim here? Well, they brought the claim in harassment. And they said, we were so psychologically damaged by finding out that you had been bugging us that's caused us psychiatric harm. So there were several issues here. First of all, did immunity apply? Then there was, can you bring harassment? Bearing in mind that the idea is you'd never find out a bit about this. So how can you harass somebody if they don't know they are being harassed? And then there was also, can this amount to psychiatric damage and can you claim for it? Well, to cut to the chase, they won the case, they won the claim, because the judge said, well, yeah, there is this exception for personal injury. So that gets us around the jurisdiction point. Yes, you do have jurisdiction to bring this claim. There was also the issue as where did the offence actually take place? Where did the tort take place? Because they had actually put this software on from abroad. However, they said, well, no, if you remember, in that case of the guy who hacked all the American systems, even though he was doing it from the UK, everybody agreed that the offence had been committed in the US because that's where the software ended up that was, hacking the stuff and relaying it all back to him. So they said the mere fact that you do it from abroad, and it's the same way that if I post, an explosive device to you and it goes off in a foreign country, I can still be done in the country where I, posted it from, because, arguably the effect is there. But I could also be prosecuted where the thing went off. So sometimes, these things can get a little bit arbitrary. And they can say, well, actually, elements of the offence took place in both jurisdictions, but so long as at least one part of it, or a substantive part of it, the proximate cause of the injury was over here, then that counts. So they said, yeah, you do have standing to bring this in the UK, or England and Wales, because that's where the tort was committed, because that's where the software was actually operating and hacking. As to the, you weren't supposed to find out about this, there's been a few cases on this. Say, for instance, you have a vendetta against somebody. And I remember there was a specific case about this. Some guy had a vendetta against a court reporter, and he would report her to all the relevant authorities, but say, I'm reporting this bad conduct, don't tip her off. And obviously they said, well, no, that's still harassment, because by definition, she's going to get interviewed. People are going to tell her about this. This guy's, basically saying all this about you. The mere fact you say, well, I don't want her to find out about it, that doesn't get you off the hook. And also said it's a bit of a foreseeable consequence that somebody might find out you've done this. So the mere fact that they were trying to be covert about it, as soon as they found out about it and were shocked, then they said that amounts to harassment and a course of conduct, because they put several things on, and of course they were monitoring them continuously. Had they just put one thing on and just swiped one email, arguably that wouldn't have been a course of conduct and therefore not harassment. And as for the injury, the psychiatric injury, they said, yeah, it's long been established that actually psychological harm counts as personal injury. I mean, it even counts the same for criminal stuff. People have been convicted of GBH for sort of tormenting somebody so badly, but not physically, that they just had a breakdown and suffered really serious harm. Because grievous just means serious, but I just like where you have all those old words. They have been successful in their claim, so it's all very, James Bondified. You never see this. I always thought, because I do like all the sort of legalities of, the intelligence services, because I do know friends who actually work in that field. We used to tease them because it's something, not 9 to 5, and it's like, well, no, it's not 9 to 5. You always knock off at 4 o'clock because they've got like really flexible working arrangements and flexi time and stuff like that, because they're all very like hippified now, the security services. They're all sort of very family friendly, and it's like, yeah, I mean, that'd be a great Bond film, wouldn't it? It's like, Mr. Bond, we've been expecting you, but we were expecting you at 9 o'clock. Oh, sorry, I'm on flexi time because I got the kids this week, so I don't have to start till 11:30. But there you go. So yeah, an interesting tale that. So as always, hope you found that vaguely useful, vaguely interesting, vaguely accurate, and I'll see you next time.